4 months ago, Amara Oae stepped off a bus from Atlanta with one rolling bag, a work authorization card, and her grandmother's last words still playing in her head like a voicemail she couldn't delete. "You have strong hands, baby. Use them to lift people." She had no idea she'd need to use them this way. 4 months earlier, Amara stood at the service entrance of a high-rise in Midtown Houston, 26 years old, Ghanaian American, wearing a blazer she ironed on her hotel bed using a towel and a hair straightener because she couldn't find the iron. The building was 41 floors. The penthouse took the whole top. The building manager, Miss Fay, walked her up without smiling, the kind of efficient woman who had seen 100 girls come through that door and watched half of them quit. "Dr. Briggs is 74, she said. Retired professor. Paralyzed from the waist down, spinal injury 2 years ago. She's sharp. She reads everything. She'll test you." Amara thought, "My grandmother tested me for 18 years. The room was bright. One whole wall was books, not decorative books but read books, cracked spines, folded pages, post-it notes sticking out like little yellow flags. In the center of the room in the wheelchair sat Dr. Odette Briggs, small and brown, white locks pulled back, round glasses sitting slightly tilted on her nose, a face that used to command lecture halls and was now forced to command a single room. She looked at Amara the way professors look at students on the first day. "Convince me you're Ghanaian." "Yes, ma'am. Born here but both parents from Kumasi." "Ashanti?" "Yes, ma'am. I taught African literature for 22 years. Do you read?" "I read everything." Dr. Briggs tilted her head. "Name something you hated." Amara didn't pause. The ending of their eyes were watching God. "Janie Berry's tea cake and the book acts like that's peace." "That's not peace. That's survival dressed up pretty." Something moved on the old woman's face, not a smile, but the space where a smile could live. "You start this afternoon." Amara had been lifting women who couldn't walk since she was 8 years old. Her grandmother had MS. She bathed her, dressed her, braided her hair, pushed her wheelchair to church every Sunday. Her grandmother died when Amara was 23, her last words spoken through an oxygen mask. "Strong hands. Use them to lift people." That was the only reason Amara took this job, not the pay. She knew what it meant to be the person who cares for someone the world stopped seeing. Within 2 weeks, she and Dr. Briggs found their rhythm. Mornings, Dr. Briggs read poetry aloud, her professor's voice coming back like muscle memory, strong and sure, filling the room. Afternoons, Amara read and Dr. Briggs argued. They fought about books the way people fight when they've been waiting their whole lives for someone worth the disagreement. "Toni Morrison writes like she's daring you to keep up," Amara said. "Because she is," Dr. Briggs replied. She never slowed down for readers who weren't ready. Dr. Briggs looked at Amara then, not employer to employee, but reader to reader. The braiding started in week 3. Amara was detangling Dr. Briggs's locks when she asked, "Can I redo these? I could take them out, wash them, start fresh." My grandmother said clean locks felt like a crown. I'm 74. My grandmother was 81. Silence. "Do it." 4 hours later, Amara held up a mirror. Dr. Briggs touched her fresh locks slowly, like she was reading something in them. "I look like somebody's grandmother. You look like a professor. Those aren't different things." She laughed, real and full, like something that had been locked in a drawer for 2 years and finally remembered it was allowed to exist. From the hallway came footsteps, someone listening, then walking away. Jade, Dexa's girlfriend, arrived every day around noon. She ran a wellness brand, 40,000 Instagram followers. She called Dr. Briggs her queen, her inspiration. She brought flowers. She posted photos with the caption, spending the afternoon with the most elegant woman I know. Amara watched. Real warmth is clumsy, she knew. It interrupts itself, laughs at wrong moments, forgets what it said. Jade's warmth was choreographed, every gesture landing precisely where it was supposed to, every word preloaded. Amara's grandmother used to say, when someone is too careful with their kindness, they're hiding the opposite. On day 11, Amara came back with afternoon tea. The door was cracked. Jade's voice came through, low and smooth. He'll put you somewhere eventually, after the wedding. Somewhere nice. A facility. You'll have your books, but you won't have this view. You won't have him stopping by because I'll explain that the facility offers better care. And he'll believe me. He always believes me. Dr. Briggs's voice came back small and frightened. Please don't do this. Then don't make me. When the new doctor comes on Friday, you'll tell him you've been confused, forgetting things. Do you understand? Yes. Amara stood in the hallway, tea tray in her hands, fingers bloodless around the handles. She walked in smiling, normal, smooth. Jade straightened. Her smile returned without a flicker. Amara set down the tray and she began to watch. On day 15, while helping Dr. Briggs change, Amara saw the bruise inside the upper arm, purple, the shape of 3 fingertips pressed hard. Wheelchair arms don't leave fingerprints, Amara said quietly. Dr. Briggs pulled away. I bumped it. I bathed my grandmother every day for 15 years. I know the difference between a bump and a grip. The old woman looked at the window. It's nothing. The gate stayed closed, but Amara had seen behind it now. On day 18, Amara finished her shift and passed Dr. Briggs's room. The wheelchair was facing the wall, 18 inches from white paint. Dar. Briggs was sitting still, staring at nothing. She couldn't turn the chair herself, her arms not strong enough to manage the weight. How long have you been like this? What time is it? 3:40. Since 10. Almost 6 hours facing a wall because someone had pointed her there and left. Amara gripped the handles and turned the chair back to the window. Afternoon light hit Dr. Briggs's face. She blinked slow, like surfacing. She said the light was hurting my eyes. Was it? No. Amara opened the curtains wider, adjusted the lap blanket, handed her the book from the side table, and didn't say another word. Dr. Briggs read, her hands shaking through the first page. By the third, the professor's voice was back. Amara stood by the window and listened, her jaw clenched so tight it throbbed. On day 22, the glasses were gone. Amara searched for 2 days before she found them, tucked into the back of a bureau drawer beneath folded scarves. Jade had put them there. Dr. Briggs had been sitting for days in a blur, unable to read, unable to see the skyline, unable to be the professor, just a woman in a fog. Amara cleaned the lenses with her apron, knelt beside the wheelchair, and placed them on Dr. Briggs's face the same way she used to place her grandmother's reading glasses on, gently, like they mattered, because they did. Dr. Briggs's eyes focused. The room sharpened. The bookshelf, the window, Amara's face. Thank you, she whispered. That night, Amara lay in her small room at the end of the service hall and stared at the ceiling. She didn't cry for herself. She cried for the woman down the hall who wouldn't. On day 27, Amara heard it from the corridor, a sharp sound, skin on something hard, then a short, cut-off cry. She opened the door. Jade was standing beside the wheelchair. Dr. Briggs's hand was in her lap, already swelling. Jade's heel had been on her fingers. Amara, I was just fixing her blanket. The smile was instant. Perfect. That night, Amara wrapped the swollen finger with medical tape and an ice pack. Tell Dex, she said. She'll put me in a home. She's been telling him for months that I'm confused. She brought a doctor, told him I'm declining. She's building a case to have me declared mentally incompetent. You're the sharpest person I've ever met. It doesn't matter what I am. It matters what she makes him think I am. Silence. She's not smarter than you, Amara said. She's just meaner. Those are different things. On day 32, Amara went to Dex, his home office, glass walls, a desk the size of her first apartment. She told him everything, the threats, the hidden glasses, the bruise, the heel on the fingers, the whispered promise of a facility. He listened. Then he called Jade. Jade arrived and the performance began, tears, a voice that sounded like it was breaking, photos pulled up on her phone of her and Dr. Briggs laughing, smiling cheek to cheek. Why would I do any of that? I love Odette. Why would this girl lie? Dex went to Dr. Briggs's room. Amara followed. Jade followed. Mom, Amara says Jade has been hurting you. Is that true? Dr. Briggs's eyes moved slowly from her son's face to Jade, standing just behind him. Jade's expression was full of love and heartbreak and concern, but her eyes said something else entirely. The facility, the confusion, the papers. Say what you're supposed to say. Dr. Briggs looked at her lap. No, Amara is mistaken. Jade has been very kind to me. Dex turned to Amara. My mother has spoken. If you make accusations like this again, I'll have to let you go. He left. Jade walked out behind him and looked back at Amara from the doorway. The tears were gone. What was underneath was smooth, cold, unbothered. Amara stood in the room alone with Dr. Briggs. The old woman stared at her hands. I'm sorry, Amara. Don't be sorry. Be angry. I'm too tired to be angry. Then I'll be angry for both of us. Amara sat beside the wheelchair and took Dr. Briggs's wrapped hand in both of hers. The room was quiet. Don't leave me alone with her, Dr. Briggs whispered. I'm not going anywhere. The weeks passed. Amara stayed, braided, read, cooked, argued, held. Dex began to notice, not the abuse, but the change. He walked past his mother's room one afternoon and heard laughter. He stopped. Both women were mid-argument about whether Zora Neale Hurston was fearless or reckless, and his mother was winning. He hadn't heard that sound in 2 years. He watched for almost 3 minutes, then walked away. That evening in the kitchen he said, "My mother laughed today. She laughs most days. She didn't used to. She wasn't given enough reasons. What did you do differently?" Amara turned to face him. I braided her hair. I read with her. I made her jollof. I argued about books. I treated her like a human being, not a liability in a wheelchair. I treat her well. You treat her like a duty. How are you, Mom? Good. Okay. That's not a conversation. That's an attendance record. Nobody talked to Dex Briggs like this, not board members, not lawyers. His housekeeper just did. She was a professor, Amara said. She shaped people's thinking for 22 years. And she's been sitting in that wheelchair for 2 years with no one who treats her like she's still that woman. He said nothing. That night, he went to his mother's room and stayed for over an hour. Meanwhile, Jade noticed the shift too. Dr. Briggs was stronger, louder, dangerous. She escalated, limiting Amara's hours, replacing the physical therapist with someone who reported back to her, tightening everything, squeezing. On a Thursday in month 4, at 4:12 in the afternoon, Dr. Briggs found the professor's voice one last time. I'm going to tell my son what you are. He sat with me last week. He heard me. He's starting to see me again. And when he sees me clearly, he'll see you clearly. Jade's voice dropped flat. Final. No, he won't. The sound came before the comprehension, sharp, skin on skin, an open hand striking a 74-year-old woman's face hard enough to knock her sideways. The glasses spun off and hit the marble. Amara opened the door. Frame 1, Jade standing over the wheelchair, hand still raised, face completely blank, the look of someone completing a task they had done before. Frame 2, Dr. Briggs, head turned from the impact, left cheek dark, eyes open, defiant. Frame 3, the glasses on the floor, one lens cracked, the things she needed to read, to see, to be herself. Amara looked at the handprint. She looked at the glasses. She looked at Jade's blank face. Something ignited, not anger, not bravery, but a reflex, the same reflex that made her lift her grandmother every morning, the same one that made her ice a swollen finger at midnight, the reflex of a woman built by 18 years of pushing a wheelchair to church, of standing between the vulnerable and the world. 3 steps. Her right hand open, palm, not a fist. Correction. Her palm connected with Jade's cheek. Jade went sideways off the armrest and hit the marble, her hair fanning out, her hand flying to her face. Amara stood between the wheelchair and the woman on the floor. Her palm stung. Her visa was over. Her job was over. She didn't move. Don't touch her again. Behind her, Dr. Briggs looked at Amara's back with an expression that had no name, the expression of someone who had just watched a stranger run into traffic for them. Someone fought for me. 30 seconds passed. The door opened. Dex walked in. Jade spoke first, always first, the tears already there, right on schedule. She hit me out of nowhere. I was just visiting your mother and she hit me. Dex looked at Amara. Amara said nothing. She stood still. Mom, what happened? Dr. Briggs's eyes moved to Jade, standing behind Dex. Jade's face held grief and shock and love. Her eyes said, the home, the papers, the doctor, say what you always say. But something was different today. A woman in a gray uniform had crossed a room for her, not for money, not for status, because she had strong hands and someone had told her what they were for. Someone fought for me. The gate opened. She slapped me. The room went still. Jade slapped me today. And before today. Dr. Briggs's voice grew steadier with every word, the professor returning. She pinches my arms. She stood on my fingers. She hid my glasses. She turned my wheelchair to face the wall and left me there for hours. She whispered that she'd put me in a home, that she'd tell you I'm losing my mind. Jade shook her head. She's confused, Dex. I told you she's been. She just described a 2-year campaign in precise chronological order, Dex said. That is not confusion. That is testimony. He looked at Jade for a long moment. Get out. You're choosing the housekeeper over me? I'm choosing my mother. I should have chosen her 2 years ago. Jade left, her heels on marble getting quieter, then gone, but not finished. At 6:22 in the evening, she called the police. My boyfriend's domestic worker assaulted me. Technically true. The law doesn't ask why. Amara was questioned. Her work authorization was flagged. Immigration was notified. Jade leaked the story to a blogger she knew. Billionaire's housekeeper attacks girlfriend. African immigrant faces deportation. The comments were immediate, vicious, predictable. Deport her. Who does she think she is? Amara read the comments in her small room at the end of the service hall. Her hands didn't shake. Her grandmother had heard worse from church ladies who thought a woman in a wheelchair was divine punishment. Dex knocked on her door. I've called a lawyer. Why? Because you did what I should have done. I hit your girlfriend. You hit the woman torturing my mother. Courts won't see it that way. Courts will see the evidence. He paused. I had cameras installed after the renovation. Every common room. They upload to a private server. Jade didn't know. Amara stared at him. 2 years of footage. Why didn't you check when I told you the first time? He had no answer. The answer was he hadn't wanted to see. I'm watching now. He watched it alone, 6 hours, his office dark except for the screen. He saw Jade hide the glasses, methodical, opening the drawer, placing them inside, closing it, walking out, leaving a 74-year-old woman in a blur. He saw her turn the wheelchair to the wall and watched his mother grip the armrests, try to turn herself, fail, give up, and sit for hours facing white paint while the Houston skyline shone behind her. He saw her stand on his mother's fingers, the cut-off cry, the smile on Jade's face, not cruelty but something worse, boredom. He heard the whispered threats, audio clean, every word. He'll put you somewhere clean. You'll have your books, but you won't have him. He watched his mother's face absorb each word, watched the professor compress, watched a woman being made smaller, visit by visit, whisper by whisper. And he watched Amara braiding locks, patient, the same pattern every week, Dr. Briggs's face shifting from hollow to alive as each row took shape. Amara finding the glasses. Cleaning the lenses with her apron. Kneeling. Placing them on Dr. Briggs's face like they were precious, because they were. Amara turning the wheelchair back to the window, the light hitting his mother's face, his mother blinking slow like coming out of a dark room. Amara sitting beside the wheelchair in the middle of the night, not speaking, just there. 2 women in the same room across 2 years, one shrinking her, one rebuilding her. He watched the footage from that afternoon last, Jade's slap, the glasses spinning, Amara crossing the room. He watched it 3 times. On the 3rd viewing, he noticed something he had missed. After the hit, after Jade fell, Amara's hand was shaking. Her whole body was shaking. She was terrified. But she didn't move away from the wheelchair. She planted herself between Dr. Briggs and the woman on the floor, and she stayed. Dex opened the family trust documents. Then he called his head of legal. Then he called his private investigator. At 3:54 in the morning he made one more call. The accident 2 years ago, my mother's spinal injury. I need the full incident report. Vehicle maintenance records. That case was closed. Open it. The report came back 48 hours later. The brake inspection scheduled for the morning of the accident had been cancelled by a phone call. The number traced to Jade's business manager. The brakes, the phone call, the timing. Dex sat with it for a full day. His stepfather, the man who fixed everything in the house, who made terrible jokes and kept every promise, had died in that crash. His mother had been paralyzed because someone cancelled a brake inspection. He told Amara. She went still. Your mother doesn't know. She's blamed herself for 2 years. She told me she's the one who said they were running late. He skipped the mechanic because of her. She needs to hear this from you. Not from a lawyer. From her son. They told Dr. Briggs together, by the window, the Houston skyline beyond the glass. She listened with a professor's face, processing, cataloging. Then, the brakes. Someone cancelled the inspection. Yes. He said they felt wrong that morning. He almost called. I told him we were running late. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. I've carried that for 2 years. It wasn't your fault, Mom. She didn't cry. She went completely still. The room held its breath. Then the professor's voice came back, clear, absolute, like a verdict. I want her to know that I know. And I want the world to know all of it. The press conference was Dr. Briggs's insistence. Wheelchair, fresh locks, new glasses, Amara having found an identical pair within a day and refusing to let her go without them. The room was full of cameras, reporters expecting a celebrity scandal. Dex spoke first. 3 days ago, my housekeeper struck my girlfriend. Media reported it as an unprovoked attack. I'm here to show you what actually happened. The screens activated. 12 minutes of footage. The room watched in silence. The hidden glasses, the wheelchair turned to the wall, the heel on the fingers, the gasps audible, the whispered threats rolling across the screen in subtitles, the psychiatric forms, the facility letter drafted and addressed and waiting on a signature, then Amara braiding locks, making jollof rice, finding the glasses, turning the chair back to the window, holding a swollen hand in the dark, then Jade's slap, the glasses spinning, Amara crossing the room, don't touch her again. The room erupted. Dex raised one hand. There's more. The trust documents. The filing. The phone call canceling the brake inspection. The connection to Jade's family firm. The accident that killed his stepfather and paralyzed his mother, currently under reinvestigation. Cameras were everywhere now. Dr. Briggs rolled to the center of the platform. My name is Dr. Odette Briggs. I taught African American literature at Howard University for 22 years. I am not confused. I am not declining. I am a woman in a wheelchair who was told to be quiet or lose everything. She looked to the side of the room, gray uniform, white sneakers, eyes wet. Today I choose to speak because a young woman, a housekeeper in my son's house, chose to fight for me when I had stopped fighting for myself. She held Amara's gaze. Amara OAE hit my abuser. And I wish I'd had the legs to stand up and do it myself. Jade was investigated, elder abuse, fraud, potential criminal conspiracy in connection with the accident. Her wellness brand went dark overnight. The comments flipped. Protect Amara. She's the real one. Amara's charges were dropped by end of day. 3 weeks later, in Dr. Briggs's room on a morning with the reading lamp on and the window full of light, Amara braided locks, same pattern, same hands. You're staying, Dr. Briggs said. Not a question. I'm staying. Not as a housekeeper. I'm not sure what else to call it. Companion, reader, lock braider, jollof chef, friend, if that's not too soft for someone from Kumasi. We're sentimental. We just hide it. So do we. Dex offered Amara a formal position, full salary, benefits, visa sponsorship. She accepted with one condition. I answer to your mother, not to you. That seems to be how everything works in this house now, he said. Slow learner, but you're getting there. That evening, a Tuesday, Amara was in the kitchen making jollof rice, the smell filling the whole floor. Dex sat at the counter and watched her cook. You changed everything in this house. I made rice and braided hair. Your mother did the rest. Silence. I don't know how to do this, he said. Feel something for someone who works here without it being wrong. I don't work in your house. I work for your mother. There's a difference. Is there? She thinks so. She told me last week, my son looks at you like you're a problem he's hoping never gets solved. She said that? She's a professor. She notices everything. He reached across the counter, not for her hand but for the spoon, and took a bite directly from the pot. Amara stared at him. You did not just eat from the pot. I'm learning different ways to earn things. That's not how earning works. Then teach me. She looked at him. He looked at her. The counter between them, the same kitchen where she told him he treated his mother like a duty, where he first heard laughter from down the hall and stopped walking. The distance was smaller now, by choice. Tuesday, she said. What about it? Come back next Tuesday. Sit with your mother for an hour first, then come here. I'll make extra. Is that a date? It's jollof rice. Don't make it weird. From down the corridor came a voice, clear and full and commanding. I can hear you both. And yes, it's a date. Amara laughed. Dex almost smiled. The sound of a 74-year-old professor's voice carrying through a penthouse was the sound of a house finishing its long way back to being a home. In Dr. Briggs's room, the door open, the lamp on, the books open, the window full of light, she sat in her wheelchair, locks braided, glasses on, reading aloud, African-American poetry, the professor's voice full and unhurried and unsilenced. Amara sat beside her. She didn't understand every reference. She didn't need to. The sound of this woman's voice, strong and unafraid, was the only proof she needed that what she did was right. On the windowsill stood two framed photos, Dr. Briggs and her late husband, and beside it Amara and Dr. Briggs taken by Dex. Neither woman was looking at the camera. Both were mid-argument, both certain they were winning. She came to Houston with one rolling bag and a work authorization card. She took a job because she knew how to care for a woman who couldn't walk. She braided locks. She made jollof rice on Tuesdays. She argued about books with a professor who hadn't argued in 2 years. And when she saw a handprint on that professor's face, she crossed a room and used her strong hands the way her grandmother taught her, not to hurt, but to hold someone up. Some people spend their whole lives waiting for permission to do the right thing. Amara didn't wait. She saw broken glasses on a marble floor and she moved. Strong hands don't ask for credit.